Hi, fourth grade friends. We're going to get started correcting our homework, and then we're just going to kind of talk a little bit about angles in our notebook page, and that's about all we really did. We'll continue more with angles next week. So, let's find our homework. Page 775 and 776. Number 4, you needed to name 3 different rays. So their examples were ray, FG, ray, EL, ray, ED. And if we look at those, it starts at E and goes to D. Yep, that's a ray because it's got a point at the first end and then an arrow at the other. Ray, FG, ray, E to L. Some other ones we said were ray, EC, ray, EA, not ray, AE. It had to be EA. What else can we do? Ray, FB, ray, AB. I think that covered most of them. Then you had to find line segments. So from one point to the other, just point to point. Ray, with just a line across, FB. Hope we know it starts and stops. Ray, A, F. Yep, starts at A, ends at F. We could do ray, AE, ray, CE, ray, EC, ray, EA, ray, LE, ray, EL. With rays, we can kind of flip the order because we talked about in class, it's symmetrical. It has a point on either side. Sorry, I meant line segments, not rays. Line segments have points on each side. Rays have to have an arrow, so we can't name it backwards and forwards. It has to be in that right order. But if it's like a line where it has arrows on either side, or if it has line segment where it has points on either side, then we can name them backwards and forwards. Rays are the only ones that we have to pay attention to that order specifically. All right, let's take a look at this side. 2 lines they thought were line AE and line BD. Now, like we were just saying, we could flip these around. We could have line DB or line EA. Then we defined 1 point that is on 2 lines, and there's only one that is point C. They also said if you did like that point sign and then a C, that would work. But the point or that symbol needs to be first. Okay. All right, then down here, this is ray, GH. It's a ray, so none of the other ones even work. Then for this, you had to know that this meant line XY. The only one that shows line XY is D. B shows a ray XY. And C is tricky. It's also a ray, but we name it from where that point is first. So ray Y X changes the name of it. All right. That was just a quick little jump in to start talking. We'll do more, and I think it'll start to make more sense. For today, we're going to talk a little bit about angles, and we're just going to work on naming the 3 ones first by their shape, by what they have, and we'll work on more with angles next time. Okay, so to get started, we're just going to cross off the glue here's. And we're going to talk about 4 types of angles. There's actually only 3 boxes. We're going to write our 4th one just here in the middle when we get to that. Our first kind of angle we're going to talk about are right angles. Right angles have to have this. All right, let's see. I'll move this guy up. Okay. Right angles are angles that measure exactly 90 degrees. So to be a right angle, it has to be exactly 90 degrees. So we practiced drawing one. We did a straight line, or actually a straight ray, and then we did another ray coming straight up as best as we could, almost making it look like the letter L. And we talked about right angles usually have something so we can tell right away what they are. Most of the time, they'll have a little box in the corner because boxes or squares all have right angles. We know it fits perfectly in there. So be a right angle, it has to be exactly 90 degrees. Another angle that we talked about was my personal favorite, acute angles. We talked about acute angles. We said they're acute because they're so small. So acute angles measure less than 90 degrees. So when we're picturing acute angles in our head, we want to picture that right angle. We always want to picture that L shape. And then, so if we knew a right angle looked like this, what we needed to do is be smaller. It needs to fit inside of this part. So we could do it going like this. We could do it going like this. Both of those are good because they are smaller. Think of it like it's chomping down. A cute little snack chomps down on it. Our third type that we talked about was obtuse. Yeah, this one's just going to be a little smaller. Obtuse angles. Obtuse angles are the exact opposite of acute angles. So acute angles measure less than 90 degrees. Obtuse angles measure more than 90 degrees. So when we're picturing drawing these in our head, we want to picture where that right angle would be, right? It would be straight up. But instead we want it to go bigger. So we're going to come like this, is stretching to the left. Stretching to the left. Obtuse and acute angles can also go opposite ways. So we could draw a right angle pointing like this too. We could draw an acute angle where it points to the left. We could draw this one. So long as within it, it is small, right? It's less, like it's chomping down on a snack. Obtuse angles, we could have go that way too. We could have it point that way, and we would want it to open up wide. Obtuse, nice and wide. Okay. Now our last one is really tricky because it looks a lot like a vocab word we did yesterday. It looks like this. Yesterday, we called this shape a line, didn't we? Today, we're going to call this one a straight angle. It can also be a straight angle. Now, straight angles get along mostly with right angles because they like to be exact also. Straight angles have to be exactly 180 degrees. They have to be exact on that. If it's 179, it's an obtuse angle. Okay, it has to be exactly 180 degrees. And if it's more, that's a different kind of angle that you'll learn about later. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few numbers, and I want you to point to the box on your page. Which one do you think this would fit under? What if it's an angle that measures 30 degrees? Would that be right, acute, obtuse, or straight? 30 degrees would be acute. What about 79 degrees? Still acute. Good. What about 98? That's obtuse. What about 90? Right angles, exactly on. What about 105? That would be obtuse. What about 180? Exactly a straight angle. Good. All right. And then the last thing we're going to do is take a look over at these pictures. And we're going to highlight the right angles just inside the shape. We got a little crazy in class. We're just going to go with just inside the shape to start. All right. Do you see any right angles? Well, let's start with this one. See how it opens wide, how it looks like it's stretching open? Nope, that's not a right angle. It's an obtuse. And if we look here, do you see how it looks like it's kind of shrinking in? How this side is getting closer to this line? Oh, that's an acute angle. What about this one? I think that is a right angle too, because it comes to a point, and it's almost got like a corner, a sharp corner straight up and down. And this one is the same as well. Take a look at this one. Now we're looking for those acute angles where it's nice and small. Well, this one, I might need to turn my notebook a little bit to look. I have my straight line, and a right angle would be straight up here, right? It's a little bit inside. So this one is an acute angle. What about this one? You might need to rotate your book or your head a little bit. Well, I see a straight side, and this one kind of comes straight up, doesn't it? I'm going to rotate my book a bit. No, it's slightly smaller if we look really closely. So this one is also an acute angle. What about this one, though? This one is really close, but this one is also actually an acute. It's really close to that 90. What about this one? That one goes way too big, right? See here, this one, how it goes when it goes up, it goes to the right. It's too big, it opens too much. That one is an obtuse, which is what we're going to look for down here. Well, inside the shape, I see my flat and straight up would be like this. Oh, this one's obtuse. Just going to highlight that. What about this one? I imagine this is straight, and that would be my 90. Oh, it's a little bit inside of it. So that would be acute. Nope. What about this one? Comes in and straight up would be like that. It's a little bit inside. So nope, that one's acute too. What about this one? Straight. But this side kind of looks like it's opening up. I want to picture those right angles in my head. This one does come a little bigger, so this one is also obtuse. And that's all we did. We worked through trying to just start to see them in the shapes. Next time, we'll do more with naming them and finding them in pictures. Talk to you soon, 4th grade friends. Thanks for joining.